Rappers and music producers, it's Curtis King, CurtisKingBeats.com. I got a question for you. What if you started to view your life as is and your environment as it stands as perfect in its own right? How would that change your life? Let's talk about it. Rappers and music producers, there's a million things to complain about when we're talking about being an independent rapper or producer. There's many things that you can think about complaining about that have to do with the responsibilities you have. There's a lot of things that keep your mind busy, some things that may even keep you up at night, and things that you're like, man, why does it have to be this way? Why is it all on my shoulders? Why can't I have somebody to help me? Why? All these things you can say. Like, I was on my computer the other day and I was trying to Skype with my homie Game and you know, have a conversation about some music for the podcast, and my computer just starts wigging out, and I'm like, this is why? What are you doing this? You ain't did this the whole time I had you. Why are you starting to wig out? It just froze. And I started to look at it and I started to feel myself complaining, and then I felt myself sort of having like a pinball effect of complaining, like when I was driving out with my wife and my son and somebody cut me off, and I'm like, man, why people drive like that? Man, what the hell is wrong with people? And I found that all this vitriol or all this quote unquote negativity or all this stuff that I'm putting out, all this energy that I'm pushing out around me, is not hurting nobody except for me. Or if it's hurting other people, it's hurting me the most. So then I started to read a few different books, and one of the books, it really pointed out something that was very eye-opening for me. And the author said, what if you viewed everything around you as already perfect? So many of us spend so much time and energy trying to make things go back to where they were, right? We try to correct things around us and say, ah man, things were so much easier when I lived here, when I worked with this person, when I had this particular equipment. Man, it was so much. We put so much energy into trying to fix the imperfect that what if things are perfect as is? And not perfect in the sense of, because we know there's nothing that is perfect, right? Especially not this finger. This finger's ugly. Everything is not, there's nothing that's perfect. But what if we looked at everything as in its own right, in the way that the natural order of the world works? What if it is perfect in its own, what if it is perfect, right? What if you believe in a higher power? I believe in God. What if you believe in a higher power and you say, you know what? I don't understand why tornadoes happen, hurricanes happen. I don't understand why all these crazy things happen around the world and why innocent people die, but I can't even begin to understand the complexities of what it means to be a God. I don't even know I don't know the half. I don't know percentage of that. I don't even know 1.0 whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know what that requires, right? I have problems sometimes cutting my fingernails into perfect half crescent moons. So there's no way in the world that I can understand what it requires to be God. So that being said, what if things are actually perfectly put where they're supposed to be? What if the place that you're in right now, stomach growling, don't know when your next meal is coming, don't know how you're gonna flip this music situation into something that's gonna be positive, don't know how you're gonna start selling beats if you can't even get yourself in front of customers and you have no money to advertise? What if everything is perfect right now? And what if, no matter if it's true or not, you viewed it as perfect? How would your life change? And let me tell you, this has been my first week and a half continuing to remind myself when something happens, this is perfect. Not perfect in the sense that I like the fact that it happened, but it's perfect. Because if I truly believe that life is happening for us and not to us, this is a setup for a bigger blessing. I had a friend of mine that used to basically do hypnosis on kind of like UFC fighters, and something he told me, he was like, one of his mentors told him, he said, when you're training somebody who's doing mixed martial arts, right? You never want to tell them, like when they get punched in the eye and their eye goes out in their vision, you never want to teach them, oh man, try to get your eyesight back. Like try to like open your eye up and try to get some water. You never want to teach them that. You want to teach them to readjust to the circumstances as they are, but still feel like you about to pull out a W out of this, right? Punched in the eye, okay, my vision is gone, but I got this eye, and this eye is pretty damn good. Matter of fact, I like this eye even better. Got your fist up, right? You're preparing yourself. You dive dodging. My peripheral's going, it doesn't matter. What I do have is these hands, and both these hands work, and my legs are actually really stable. My toes a little wobbly, I don't know why, but they there. You want to use the circumstances as you have them, right? And as you have them, you will start to see things are perfect as is. Imagine pulling out that victory with one eye. Now imagine how perfect people will tell that story in retrospect. Man, dude's eye was jacked up, and man, he was dodging. He hit that dude with a right, and then hit him with a left, and an uppercut, and then boom, 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 and then he knocked him out in the 3rd round. It was one of the greatest stories ever. Perfect as is. So then I started looking at everything that happens, and I started to ask myself, because you know the natural question after, okay, Curtis, all right, everything's perfect. What is the purpose of me stubbing my toe on the bed? Well, how dramatic you want to get, okay? Because you know Curtis King can be pretty dramatic. What if, because you stubbed your toe, and say that caused you 15 seconds of hopping around the room and ow, my toe hurt. What if that 15 seconds could have been 15 seconds sooner that you got into your car and drove, and 15 seconds sooner you would have got to that crazy ass driver that missed that stop sign and would have head on hit your vehicle? Did that stub toe not become just a little bit more perfect in its own right? I know that's really extreme, but I try to think of that because I'm like, I don't understand the complexities of what it means to be God or to be the creator. I don't know what that means, and whoever's making the decisions for these things that are here, I believe there's somebody making the decisions. Whoever it is that you believe in, you gotta understand there's a lot of things going on that you don't understand. So I'm just going to view them as, you know what, this is perfect. Even when somebody passes away, because I think about folks in my life that have dealt with physical pain that I'll never understand. They've dealt with emotional pain because of the loneliness of that pain and how the fact that nobody else understands it, no matter how much they describe it, they could never feel it. I think about how when they do pass away, the pain is now gone. And now, if you believe that soul rises and goes to somewhere else, that's gotta be a better place than suffering here in silence on a regular basis. So even that in its own essence is perfect. So I'll give you one more example before we go ahead and clock out here. There was a episode of Breaking Bad that really signifies how complex this world can be, how complex our relationships can be. So Heisenberg, and the show was already old, so I don't care if I give it away. Heisenberg was this school teacher turned drug kingpin who was doing all of this crazy stuff he had never done in his life. Like, he was getting people killed, he was selling drugs and using his scientific knowledge to basically make the most purest meth that he could ever make, right? And he was making a lot of money doing it. But there was a particular episode in which he felt that his partner's girlfriend was a liability, and so I think that he gave her drugs that ended up making her die, and because of that, her father ended up being a pilot who was flying a plane that I believe crashed and killed multiple people. So that example, what I'm trying to basically give you the vision of is life is very complex, and that interconnection between those characters, as dramatic as that may have been, or the stub toe example I gave you, that's the way life can be sometimes, right? Life can be a lot more complex than what our small brains can even comprehend. So do me a favor, as you're working on that beat, instead of thinking like, damn, this beat is it's nothing compared to the stuff that I hear from these other producers, forget about that. This is perfect as it is right now. This is perfect because this is setting me up for something even greater. This is going to be the reason why I become the producer I am in 2 years. This is perfect. This right now is, everything is perfect. Even this video going a little bit longer than I thought I wanted to go. It's perfect. Start to do that for yourself, and you'll realize that you relieve a lot of pressure, a lot of energy, a lot of wasted energy into trying to make things perfect. How about we just look at them right now as, you know what? No. I don't care what nobody says. This is perfect because this is the setup to my come up. In this life, you would not be full of life until you decide to live life to its fullest. Curtis King, Curtis King, headassbeats.com. Please subscribe to the channel below, Curtis King, CurtisKingBeats.com.